Hi guys, it's Abby again. Today we're going to be making Pop Tart Hamantashen. They're Hamantashen filled with jam and they're delicious. They're so easy to make and they're really a big hit. I'm going to post the recipe for the dough in the comment section. You can make the dough. It's an easy dough to make. You put everything in the mixer together. You can even mix it by hand and then you come and you have a dough like this. Some of the materials you're going to need, we're going to need to make triangles. So if you have a triangle cookie cutter, that's great. If not, a square works well. We're just going to cut it in half. I'm going to cut it with a pizza cutter, but you can cut it with a knife. A little bit of flour to flour our surface, some jam to fill, a spoon for my jam, and you're going to need a fork because that's going to make the little markings around the edges of the triangle. Okay, so here, let's get started. I'm going to take some flour my surface, take some dough, and just start rolling it out. This dough is going to need some flour. It's a moist dough. It has a great flavor, but it definitely you need to make sure that there's plenty of flour so it doesn't stick to your counter, and so that way the rolling pin doesn't stick to the dough. And just start rolling it out. You want it to be an even thickness, not too thin. Too thin, it'll get crispy and it'll burn, and too thick, it gets too chewy. Okay, and I keep picking up my dough. I do this all the time when I work with a rollout cookie dough because I just want to keep making sure that it's not sticking to the counter. And I just keep adding flour and keep rolling it out. There we go. That means it needs a little bit more flour all along the top. Okay. Okay, my dough is looking great. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out a square, okay, as many as I can get out of my cookie dough. I'm going to remove the excess. And the fact that the excess comes up nicely lets me know that my squares will come up nicely also. And now I'm going to take my pizza wheel and I'm just going to cut straight down the middle of the square to get 2 triangles. Here we go, 2 triangles. Let's do it with all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to take a little bit of jam, not too much. A little bit really goes a long way. It actually will melt a little bit in the oven and it'll spread, so you don't have to worry that there's only a tiny little bit in the center. It really will spread. And I flip this triangle over and cover the top triangle. With my fork, I just make the markings all along the sides of the triangle. Amazing. I'm going to pop these in the oven at 180 degrees for 12 to 15 minutes, 180 degrees Celsius, 350 degrees Fahrenheit, until they're golden brown. When they're golden brown, they're going to come out and we're going to put a glaze on top. So I'll see you back when they're out of the oven. Okay, my Pop Tart Hamantashen came out of the oven. The house smells so good. It's a really delicious sweet dough. They're cooled. I allow them to cool. And there are 2 ways that we can top this. The first way is we can take a cookie and dip it in, this is 1 cup of powdered sugar and 2.5 tablespoons of water. And this is gonna be my glaze. So what I can do is I can take my cookie, turn it the top side down, and just dip it right into the glaze. Kind of move it around a little so it gets covered. Let the excess drip off. Okay, and here I have a really, really nice glazed cookie. The other way you can do it is you can take a piping bag, open it up, and we're going to fill the piping bag with the glaze. Take some glaze and put it in the piping bag. And then I am going to, and you don't need a piping bag, you can use any plastic bag that's thick. You can use a Ziploc bag and cut off a corner. You can use a sandwich bag and cut off a corner, but you want to cut off a very, very, very small tip. Otherwise, a lot of glaze will come out at once. And here you can kind of just make a pretty pattern like this, okay, and then it will dry. So this glaze dries, and what I really like to do is just to make it a little bit festive and put some sprinkles on it. And you can put some sprinkles straight on top like I just did, or you can make it a little bit more of a pattern. Here I'm gonna get another cookie covered in the glaze. Covered, 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 all sides. There you go, sometimes it needs a little help spreading. Spread that to the edge, beautiful. And then I can also just take some sprinkles and just put it along the edges. Kind of highlights the fact that it's a triangle, which is so appropriate for the holiday. And there we have it. We have Pop Tart Hamantashen, and I'd love to show you the inside. You take one, you break it open, there's jam, it's sweet, it's delicious, and it's a really, really fun way to introduce Hamantashen into your holiday. Have a happy Purim.